If you've been wanting to use Instantly for your business to send cold emails, but you're feeling overwhelmed and don't know where to start, this video is going to be extremely helpful for you. We're going to go step by step over what you need to do to get set up on Instantly and send cold emails without going to spam. Now, who am I to tell you this? Well, my name is Michael. For 10 years, I've been building B2B companies. And for the last few, I've been helping other companies master cold email. And through this, I've worked over 100 companies, and I've even become an Instantly partner. So the information you are getting in this video comes from real campaign data. Now, in terms of who's going to actually tell you this information, I'm going to hand this over to my business partner, Felipe, who handles all of our operations. Felipe, I'll let you hop into the tutorial.
Hello everyone, I'm Felipe, Michael's partner, and in this video we are going to talk about Instantly. How can we leverage this tool to run successful cold email campaigns? So in this video, we'll not only talk to you about how to use the tool, I'll also tell you how to manage campaigns, how to manage your deliverability, ability to land a primary inbox, and from there, what is the other tech stack that you need to have in place in order to run a successful cold email infrastructure. So without further ado, let's jump straight into this. We're going to cover Instantly in a few layers. So layer number one, we're going to talk about Instantly as a tool to get you leads. So finding the contacts of the people that you want to be reaching out to. Then we're going to be talking about email accounts and the Warmup infrastructure. From there, we'll talk about campaigns. How do you launch a campaign? How do you manage a campaign? And how you make sure it's running properly? And then how do you optimize campaigns? And then the last step is going to be the Unibox. Now, one could say that we should also talk about the analytics, but I would say that would be part of the campaign management. So if you're thinking about analytics, it's going to also be covered in the campaign management portion of this video. So let's jump straight into this. In terms of the lead scraper, Instantly has a tool that's not only able to find companies you should be reaching out to, but also find the contacts of the people inside those companies. So it's a fantastic tool. We do use it every once in a while when we need to launch a campaign fast. And the reason I say it that way is because we tend in our company to scrape more directories, which is scraping websites that have already filtered the type of companies we want to be working with. And then we do the lead enrichment through a waterfall enrichment where we use multiple tools to enrich all of our data. And then we bring it to Instantly only to launch. But every once in a while, we do find ourselves using this feature once again, which is when we want to just launch something fast and something that's an easy filter, if you want to call it that way. So if we were to launch something quickly and easily, the way we would do it is very simple. We would come here to the lead finder, the first tab inside Instantly, and we're going to apply the filters that we need. So for instance, let's say we were doing a campaign for our company, DFY meetings, and we help other 7- and 8-figure companies create a cold email infrastructure. And so if you were to reach out to those type of companies, the way we would do it is as follows. So if we were to go after these companies, we would start by searching titles such as, let's say, a CEO, or we would go after even a CTO, someone that already has a chief technology officer. Now, what is something for you to keep in mind when you're looking for titles is that you got to be looking for titles that are related to the job that can bring you on board. So let me explain what that means. Let's say we're going after companies that have 200 plus employees, and we are trying to sell them marketing. Now, one could argue that you always want to talk to decision maker, which means a CEO, founder, or any C-level executive. But when we're talking about companies that have 200 plus employees, it might not really be the case that we want to be talking to someone that high level inside the company. It might be the case that we want to talk to a partnership manager, for example. So make sure you're doing your research before you come into the lead scraper. And if you need help with that, just let us know. You can let us know in the comments. We can give you some examples. We can record further videos on how to come up with the best avatar for you to reach out to. But overall, just keep in mind that you got to find the person that's responsible for either making a partnership with you or for the job inside the company to be done that you're trying to sell them on, okay? So for example, for us, if you're selling, let's say, cold email deliverability, helping other companies land in a primary inbox through their cold email efforts, we may be reaching out to a head of demand gen instead of a founder. But we could also reach out to the founder and mention and ask them if it would be better to contact the CTO instead or the head of demand gen instead, which is already adding personalization. Now, let me take a step back. You don't have to worry about all of the things I just said. Let's just keep on going on how we would use this lead filter inside Instantly. So, okay, I would apply my job titles, apply location. Let's say I want to do only United States. Let me show you. We would just select it like that. In terms of an industry, let's say I will go to business services and I want, let's see, for this example, let's say design. It's not really an industry we would go after, but I just want to show you how to use the filters. Then I'm going to choose their employee range. In our specific case, it would be 100 plus most of the time. I'm not saying that you should do the same. So let's say I found 260 leads in here. Fantastic. I could go ahead now and start enriching the data. The process of enrichment is the process of getting contacts for those people, getting their email. But before I do so, I'll tell you a little bit more about other filters that are also present in here. Number one, the revenue filter, which is a filter that overall is inaccurate, not because of something that Instantly has wrong per se, but it's just because it's a metric that's a guess, right? The way it's guessed depends on the tool, but overall it's a metric that is not going to be accurate just because it's a guess. There is no public information that tells you what's the revenue of a company, specifically if you're talking about smaller companies. So you can use it, but just don't rely completely on it. Now, what you could do instead is look for indirect ways to know the revenue. For instance, if a company has 200 plus employees, yes, they have the budget, right? They will be making enough money to be able to hire you for your services. Of course, this is a broad generalization that I'm putting here. It depends on how much you charge, but you get what I mean. So you can indirectly look for other things that will indicate that they have the revenue. Another example would be in technologies. So let's say you would only choose technologies that cost a specific amount of money. So you choose a tech stack that would cost at least 1,000 USD per month. As an example, which would usually indicate that this company has the budget as well, if they're willing to spend 1,000 USD just on their website. So that is one example. Next thing that I'll tell you about is Instantly has a feature now for lookalike domains, which means that they're gonna look into the description of the website that you put in here and try to find companies that have similar descriptions. So if you were to put dfimeetings.com in here, you'd find other companies that are similar to DFI Meetings. Just once again, as an example. We tend not to use this too much because lookalikes, the quality tend to vary a lot depending on the initial website you give it. So yeah, not really a filter we use too much, but it's available and you can play around with it. Of course, validate your data before enriching it. By validate, I mean check it. Next, this is a feature that we would use quite extensively if we were to not do a waterfall enrichment, which is enriching by domains. What the way this works is, let me give you one example. Let's say you were to go to a directory such as Clutch. If you are inside Clutch, let me put lead generation. This is an example. So now that we got the results, what we're going to do is, let's say we're going to start scraping the websites. We're going to open website by website, save them on a spreadsheet. So for example, in this case, mortal.ca, we will take the next one, which is what? Belkins, and then Science, Pipeful, and so forth. We would copy all of the websites. Then we would bring it back to Instantly, paste them all in here, right, in the domains. And now we are able to scrape only the position titles inside the companies of these specific domains, which is a very helpful feature. So if ever you're scraping directories and you just want to get contacts now, copy all of the websites from the directories, paste them inside Instantly, and you're going to have a list of contacts inside those specific companies. Fantastic resource. We love this feature. We don't use it too extensively just because we do a waterfall enrichment, which means that we combine at least 8 tools to get as many contacts as possible. But of course, that may not fit your budget if you're just starting out. So you would want to consider a feature like this one, which is a fantastic feature. Next, you can filter by job listing, technologies, funding type, and so forth. I'm not gonna literally explain every single one of these, just because you can play around with filters. This is how you can get your list of contacts already. But okay, let's say you found your list. Now what you're gonna do is you're gonna select the companies that you wanna enrich, right? You can select them one by one, or if you review the entire list, you can just select all of them at once. So you would just click here and select all results. And then from here, what you can do is you can download this list if you wanna clean it outside of Instantly, or you can literally just click on Add Your Campaign. If you click on Add Your Campaign, you're gonna, of course, get this data enriched for you. It's gonna cost you credits, but you then will be ready to start on the campaign launch process, okay? A few notes before I move on. Note number one that is extremely important is make sure you're checking the data in terms of company names. Are the company names formatted properly? Meaning, do they not include LLC, INC, CO, or any other type of suffix in the company name? Also make sure it is capitalized properly, not like fully capitalized from beginning to end. And make sure the same is also applied to the names. Are they not fully capitalized? Are they spelled out properly, right? And do you have like only one name for the first name, which is quite important. So, okay, you check that, you check the quality of the companies. Now, let's say you clicked on Add Your Campaign, you already got your data enriched. We are good to go to the next step. And also, we can enrich people that we have in an already existing list. So let's say you already got a list of companies and you don't want to do the method like I showed you here to coming inside domains and pasting all of them. You can also go to enrichment and create a new list, and then you can upload your list. So I'll just put an example here. You can come in here, you upload your CSV file, and once you upload the CSV file, you just select what is the domain, what are the position titles inside those companies, and then it's going to do the enrichment for you. Cool. Now that we got that out of the way, let's start talking about accounts. How can we make sure that our accounts are good? How can we start a warm-up process? What is a warm-up process? So let's do that. Let's come here to email accounts, which is the second tab. Okay, and once you are in here, the number one thing that you gotta know is you need to add accounts. Email accounts. And when I say email accounts, what I'm talking about specifically is if you're running, let's say, a cold email infrastructure, you want to have paid business accounts. Why paid business accounts? Just because they tend to perform a lot better, longer term, and you're actually building an infrastructure that can last. If you use personal accounts, they are a lot more likely to get suspended by Google since it's against their policies. But if you know how you're setting up accounts, and we'll talk more about that later in this video, then you should be creating business accounts that are set up properly, and you should be connecting them to Instantly through a method that's called OAuth. The way that OAuth works is very simple. You're going to have to go inside your email account. You're going to have to turn on IMAP, which is something I'm not going to show in this video, but we can record another one to show you how to set up email accounts. But you would set up IMAP, and as soon as you've done that, you're going to click here on connect a new email account. You're going to select the email service provider, let's say G Suite or Microsoft, okay, which Microsoft would be Microsoft Office 365. Remember, paid account. Okay, once we selected that, it's going to show us how to set up IMAP. Then we'll say, okay, yes, IMAP is enabled. We're going to connect through OAuth. It's important that you do that just so you have another deliverability boost. Okay. Then you're going to add this, you're going to allow this client ID inside your account, and you're going to click on login. Once you click on login, you just literally put in your credentials and you're going to be inside account. You're going to authorize Instantly to start using this account, and then you're going to be good to go. Okay, so once you've connected your accounts like that, this is how you'd connect it in the, I would say the easy way, like the manual way. That also takes a lot of time, but you could, and I'm just putting this out there, it could be a topic for another video, you could also book import all of your accounts. Let's say you set up 100 accounts and you want to book import them. It's also an option. We can cover another video, but it's a feature that Instantly has, and that is very, very helpful. But okay, let's continue here. So you added your accounts, you have them all in here. They're not going to look exactly like these accounts because you have not yet turned on the Warmup. So before I show you what it would look like from there, let's talk about Warmup. What is Warmup? What are the things that you should know about it? Okay, so in terms of Warmup, the things that we need to know about it is that it is a feature that Instantly has that is going to send emails back and forth between other Instantly user accounts. And those emails going back and forth are going to be creating a baseline level of engagement in your account, which is extremely helpful to create a reputation with Google, Microsoft, and other email service providers. If you skip this portion of the setup of a cold email infrastructure, your accounts are very likely not to perform. Let's understand why is that. Let's say, and this is just an example, let's say you were to create an email account yourself, not for cold email, but to talk to your friends. Even if your friends hated you, you could say that 3 out of 10 would reply something like, hey dude, go get lost. Hey, don't really contact me again. Hey, I'm not really interested in talking to you. Now, it may not be like that, but this is just as an example to make it stick a little bit more. But Google and Microsoft are looking at your accounts with kind of the same eyes. Like, do people really hate this person, or do they actually engage with his content or her content? And do they want more of his or her content? So they have a baseline level of engagement that they want to see in your account to consider you a healthy sender. That baseline number could vary, but I like to say that's somewhere along the lines of 20% to 40% reply rates. That's like a baseline level of engagement you want to have in your accounts. Sometimes more, sometimes less, depending on the accounts you're contacting. We're not going to make things complicated, but you need to have replies. Okay, now very soon we're going to talk about the volume you can send per email account, which is going to be 50, which is not a magic number. I'm going to explain the number in a second. But let's say you're sending 50 emails per day. That would mean that at a 30% reply rate, you'd get 15 replies a day. Now, what happens is if you were to launch a cold email campaign directly without using the warm-up feature, what would be the reply rate that you would get? If you're new to this, I'll give you some like a range. But if you're already experienced, you'd perhaps argue that like up to 20% reply rates on a personalized list. It's very hard to get very high reply rates if you're not putting in the extra effort of segmenting a lot or adding personalization or adding relevancy points. If you're doing book sending, 20% would be like kind of like your cap for a very high reply rate, right? And if you're new to this, imagine like 10 to 20% as being your cap, depending on the market you're going after, depending on how much effort you're putting into personalization and blah, blah, blah. You can keep on going on. But let's imagine like it was 20%. 20% is still not like that baseline level of engagement. And we're talking already about your absolute best cold email campaign. So that would mean that we need to have a tool to fake engagement and get these replies coming through on your accounts to just make you look healthy, like a healthy sender, a credible sender. This is ground zero. This is baseline. If we don't have this, nothing else will work. So we need to have a warm-up system in place every single time, right? And so now that you understand what the warm-up is, sending email back and forth with other accounts, creating an engagement, we know baseline engagement. Now let's talk about how Instantly helps you on this. So they have a warm-up pool that's public. Public means for every Instantly user that are going to send emails back and forth for you, and you can control the reply rate. So you connected your email account to Instantly. You came here on the settings. Then what you're going to do is you're, of course, going to fill out your name, your last name, and then we're going to start playing with the settings. If these are new accounts, you want to make sure you're not sending any emails in the campaign, right? So this is 0. Minimum waiting time is not going to matter if you're not sending campaigns. You want to enable a custom tracking domain. This is extremely important. I highly recommend that you do this part. There are specific things that you should look for in here, such as using different host names. But if you are curious about it, let us know in the comments. We can always record another video about it. But anyways, turn on a custom tracking domain. You can follow their instructions if it's your absolute first time. Then we want to look at what's important here, which is the warm-up settings. In the warm-up settings, what you should be considering is the following. If it's a newly created account, you want to make sure that the warm-up is turned on, the increase per day is turned on as a slow warm-up, which we usually, this is an internal number that we use, put this to 4. So every single day, we're going to start sending 4 more emails. We started 4 emails per day, then 8, 12, 16, and we'll go up and up and up until we hit our daily warm-up limit. Why do we do it that way? It's very simple. Let's say you were to even create an Instagram account, different example. You wouldn't just start following 2,000 people in this first day. You just wouldn't, because your account would get what? Suspended. The same happens on the warm-up. If your email account was bought today and all of a sudden you're sending 100 emails, it is very likely to get suspended. And not because they think you're spamming, but because they think your account is compromised. They might be worried that someone has hijacked the IP of your email account and is using it for malicious purposes. So therefore, we need to start slowly. We're going to start with 4 emails per day and increase 4 emails every single day, very slowly warming it up, right? And then for the daily warm-up limit, we're going to put this to what? If you remember already, 15 emails per day, which is the total amount of emails we want to be sending every single day. So this is going to be up to 50. Reply rate, we tend to play with 30 to 40%. I'll put 30% in a specific case. These are the settings that we plug and play in Instantly when we are firstly creating accounts. So this is it. Now we let this account sit for at least 14 days, which is for it to create a baseline level of engagement already and get close to the 50 emails per day already, because we do not want to be spiking that sending up or down. So this is where we want to be sitting at, okay? This is what I recommend that you do. Soon we're going to explain how we use the warm-up on campaigns, but in terms of using the warm-up just to get the engagement in the accounts, this is how. Now, let's talk about the other features that Instantly has. They have a feature to only send on weekdays, which is something we do not use internally. We like to send on weekends as well, so we recover our accounts. We like to have a very consistent sending every single day of the week. Read emulation, we always keep on. Warm custom tracking domain, we always keep on, assuming we have the custom tracking domain installed already. In this case, we didn't. That's why it wasn't on. And then for the other settings, open rate, just make sure it looks like something that could happen. So let's say 80 to 90% open rate, 100% spam protection every time. That one needs to be like that. And mark as important, let's say 50, 60%. Okay? You don't really need to worry too much about this scale right here. But this is how you would set up your account, add it to the warm-up, let it sit for 14 days, and then come back to launch your campaigns. Which now let's talk about campaigns, okay? I want to make sure this video doesn't turn out to be 1 hour and a half long too. So that is why I'm gonna be going a little bit faster. Now, not in terms of my speech, but in terms of the features that I'll be covering. And we can, of course, have other videos in the future too to talk about deliverability. Okay, let's go on. So campaigns, what do we need to know about campaigns? Number one is that when we want to launch a campaign, we're going to do it like the following. We're going to click on add new. We're going to name this campaign. The way we like to name it internally is very simple. We put client name, source of leads, okay, angle, whoops, I'll split test. And then we're going to put split test, right? So for example, what this would look like is very simple. Let me just restart. So let's say Michael Gardiner, or leads, okay? Just as an example, this would be the source. We got it from a directory called store leads. Not really the case. We wouldn't really do it for our company, but just give you an example of what it would look like. Then the script would be the personal script. So let's say something that Michael is relating to a personal touch point, and what we're split testing is the subject line. Okay, so we put all of this in the campaign name, just so from outside the campaigns, we can know exactly what's going on across all of the campaigns. Okay, it's just one of those things that helps you save time as you're scaling this infrastructure. Cool. So now that we've done that, let's say you haven't used the lead finder to put your leads in here. Now what we got to do is we got to bring in a lead list, okay? So I'll show you how to do that. If you were using a lead finder, all you do is just go back there, take your list, select all, add your campaign, select this campaign, done. Don't have to do more than that. But if you have your list somewhere else, I'll show you how we're going to do it from here. All right, great. So I just got here an example of what a lead list would look like, okay? This is not a lead list you want to use by any means. This is just an example of what a lead list would end up looking like. It would have first names, it would have company names, it would have the position titles, and it would have the website of the leads, and of course, the emails, which is absolutely important. Okay, so this is what the lead list will look like. Remember, once again, principles I told you before. Check the first names, make sure they're formatted properly. Check the company names, make sure they don't have suffixes and are formatted properly. And then here's the key part. If you're using Instantly, they already have a feature to check if the emails are valid, meaning do these emails actually exist or are they just guessed? So if you're using Instantly, that feature is already applied to your campaigns. Don't worry about it. If you're getting your list from somewhere else, you need to validate this list first. The way you're going to validate this list first is you can use a tool such as Million Verifier, for example. So I'll just show you what it looks like. This, you can use Million Verifier. I'm not going to open it to show you how to use it because it's as simple as clicking on upload, selecting the list, and downloading the good emails only. You need to do this, absolutely need to. You cannot have invalid emails in your campaigns. I'll explain why later on. But okay, so you got that, you got your list. What you're going to do from here is after you ran it through Million Verifier, for example, you're going to download it, okay? In this case, I'm going to just download the list from Google Sheets because I have already validated it. So I'm going to download it as a CSV file. All right, so now that I got that, what I'm going to do in Instantly is I'm going to click on Add Leads. I'm going to select a CSV file. Okay, I'm going to click to upload, and I'm going to select that file that I just wanted to grab, this one right here. Now I'm going to start mapping the columns. So first name goes to first name right here, last name to last name, company name, and so forth. It would have all of the merge fields that we need in our campaigns. Now notice that we have position title as do not import. The reason for that is because I'm not mentioning the position title in the script. But if I were to be, I would select this as a custom variable. Just like that. Easy, easy, easy. Then I'm going to just check for duplicates across all campaigns. I don't want to have the same leads on multiple campaigns at once because I don't want to be over contacting anyone. But okay, so now that we got that out of the way, let's just click on upload all. It's going to upload all of our contacts. Okay, great. And now we can start already applying the script writing. So a few things are important to know about the scripts. Number one is you always want to be split testing something because there's always one variation that is going to be winning and you want to keep that variation and you want to try to make it better. So even if you are an absolute beginner to cold email, just keep in mind this is a framework. You should always be split testing. Super important. Now, in terms of what you do in terms of a script, I highly recommend you check other videos from Michael. So go to his channel, check script writing on the search bar, and then you're going to find a lot of videos around how to create good cold email scripts, what you say to make someone want to hop on a call with you or purchase your products. But for the sake of this video, I'm just going to put some random stuff on the screen, and then we're going to look at that, okay? So let's say on the subject line, I'm going to do something like quick question. And now I want to pull the name of the people that were inside our list. So how would I do that? I'll just put curly brackets, first name, like that. Now, I happen to know that this is what you should be putting in there. What should you do if you don't know what to do? You should click on insert variables. And then it's going to show you all of the variables that you can pull in. So you can see that you can pull in like the position title, which was a custom variable that we brought in from the list before. So you can add that in. You can also go in and you can add the company name, right? You can add everything inside your list. If you want to see what this would look like, you just click on preview and voila, here we have all of that. Now, of course, add your script, add your merge fields as you're supposed to. I'm not going to talk too much about this in this video, but the one thing I want to tell you about is Instantly has a fantastic feature to make every single email that you send out look unique. It is called spin syntax. The way you apply it is very simple. You're going to put curly brackets, random, and then this vertical character. From here, you're gonna add all of the variations that you wanna have when you're sending emails to make them look unique. For instance, hey, hi, hello, and then let's say I would put first name, okay? So what is going to happen now is if I click in the preview, notice how it only said hi. But if I keep on changing the lead, sometimes it's going to say hello, sometimes it's going to say hey, hello, hi, hey, hello, hi. And it's going to keep on rotating between those three words. Now what happens is if you add this trick to every single paragraph of your email, very easily you're going to start having hundreds of variations of emails that you're sending out, making every single email sent out look unique. It helps with deliverability. Now, I'm not going to talk too much on this, but it is a feature that Instantly has. It is absolutely fantastic. I highly recommend you to check it out and that you implement it. Let's move on. If you want to add a split test, all you would do is click on Add Variant and add a different variation of the script. If you want to send a follow-up, you click on Add Step. You choose how many days you want it to wait to send the follow-up. Okay, so an email to. And then from here, what you can do is you have two options. You can send this follow-up as a new email. And if you want to do so, you would add a new subject line. Okay, I'm going to put subject line in there. And then you're going to put the email. Now, if you don't want to send it as a new email and you want to reply to your initial email in the inbox of your prospect, you just leave this empty. As easy as that. Cool. Once you finish that, what I want to make sure you do is you clean the HTML in every single email. Again, not going to go too much in depth on what this does, but it's important that you apply it every single time. We just don't want to get checked for any HTML tricks in our emails. Cool. Let's go on then. Next thing that you can know about using Instantly that's going to be helpful is that you can use templates that they have created already. So if you are curious about what to do and how to start, you can just use their templates. They have some fantastic ones written already. So just go in here, find a template that you like and use it for your campaign. You can also go ahead and you can add images. You can go ahead and add links. You can add everything that you want in here. Instantly has all of the features for that already. Now, I'll let you explore, be creative on your scripts. You can look at inspiration on their guidelines, but overall, this is it. This is how you would add scripts. Let's go on to the next part, which is the schedule. So once you added all of the scripts, we're going to go to the schedule. Very key that you choose the time zone of your prospects and not your own time zone, okay? So if you're reaching out to someone in the US, you put US as a time zone. You put an American time zone. In terms of timing, just to be legally compliant with, let's say, the Can't Spam Act or, let's say, GDPR laws, you want to be sending during work days, work hours only. Now, you could have strategies where you would do something different and you would send on weekends, but just know that you're not being compliant at that point. And it should be only when you have a strategy, not every time. It shouldn't be an evergreen type of thing. Let me give you an example of a strategy just so I can illustrate this point. We had a client where we were sending emails only on Sundays and specifically on Sunday nights. Okay, so it would go from something like 5 p.m. all the way to 9 p.m. And what we would do in the script of this client is say something along the lines of, hey, first name, my wife would absolutely hate me for being such a workaholic, but I saw your ads and I had to reach out. So that was the script. And the script was around why we were reaching out on a Sunday night. And guess what? It performed really well back then. Don't really use the script, by the way. It's not going to work anymore. We use that a lot. But anyways, like that was a script that we ran, and it was because the strategy was around sending on a Sunday, so therefore we sent on a Sunday. But it is not the most compliant thing you can do. The most compliant thing is only sending on work days, work hours, and exclude holidays. So you put this to 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, time zone of your prospect. Cool. You can click on save. Now you could add a start and an end date to your campaign. We don't really use these features, so I'm going to skip them. Next, let's talk about the options. So once you get to the options, there are a few important things in here, and I'm going to tell you the settings that we tend to use the most. So number one, you can select all of the accounts that you want to connect. And here's the rule that I want to make very clear. You want to make sure you're adding multiple accounts to every campaign, but you do not want to add the same accounts to multiple campaigns running simultaneously. What do I mean by that? You do not want to have, let's say, Felipe@yafiminutes.com in 2 campaigns sending at once. Because if you do so, you would have to go on expert mode to make these campaigns not throttle the sending. The way that Instantly works for the sending is on a round-robin fashion of sending, which means they have a trigger on a specific time every single day, let's say every 10 minutes, to check if the account's available to send. If it is, it sends. If it is not, it skips. But if you have 2 campaigns trying to send from one account, those triggers will get skipped in one campaign or on both campaigns, depending on when was the last time that email account has sent an email. So all in all, I will not complicate things. Make sure there are unique email accounts in every single campaign, but make sure that you add more than one to every single one of your campaigns. Just because, guess what? That helps you. That helps with deliverability. You're adding variants to your campaigns. Cool. And that is a feature that's specific to Instantly that is fantastic, and we love it, and we use it very much. From there, you can stop sending emails on reply. Just up to you. Open tracking, we tend to disable this just due to deliverability. I'm not going to explain too much in this video. We tend not to track link click tracking, but it would be a feature that would be available from the custom tracking domain that we had set up before, that we talked about a few minutes ago. So you could have it on, specifically have this on if you're, let's say, for example, adding images to your email, or if you're adding links, whatever. So you could have this on. I'll leave it up to you. We don't really use this. Next, if you're not adding images, GIFs, or anything of that nature, we tend to send emails only as text only, no HTML, helps with deliverability. Daily limit, we put this as high as possible because we never wanted to throttle our campaigns. This is an advanced setting, by the way. The reason we put it like this is because we control our volume of sending from inside the email account. So you could follow the same. Next, minimum time gap, we just make sure that this number is more than 10 minutes, comes from our testing. Not going to explain too much in this video, but we can do another one about this. Random additional time, we put it to 1 minute, just because we want to add variance. We don't have any new limits per day, and we prioritize reaching out to new leads over scheduled follow-ups just because it increases the volume of calls that we book. The reason for that is just because we noticed from across our data from years of doing cold email that email ones and breakup emails tend to get the most amount of replies and most amount of booked calls. Therefore, when we prioritize reaching out to new leads, we are saying to the tool that, hey, reach out to all of the new people that are very likely to book a call straight away. And once you finish that, and I'm already busy, then start sending follow-ups, which you will still get replies, but a lot less than email ones. Kind of make sense? If it doesn't, let me know in the comments. Important though. Cool. Then you can use a feature that's fantastic on Instantly, which is auto-optimize AZ testing. So you can choose what is the metric you want it to optimize for. This is something that I recommend for beginners. So if you're starting out, you can optimize by reply rate. If you're advanced, I don't recommend that you ever optimize campaigns on numbers. I recommend that you optimize campaigns on nuance and on looking at the actual data, the quality of replies, the amount of leads that were brought in from every single campaign, and so forth. We can do also, once again, a video talking about campaign optimizations. But if you're a beginner, you can optimize by reply rate, for example. Cool. From there, they have a feature to match, let's say, providers. So if you have Outlook accounts, send only to Outlook accounts. If you have G Suite accounts, only send it to G Suite accounts. There was this myth going around that this would improve deliverability, and it perhaps would, but we tested this at scale. We didn't really see much of a difference. Therefore, we keep this on for the placebo effect. Placebo effect, I mean, just in case there is a benefit to this, but we haven't found it too much. But yeah, you can keep this enabled if you want to have this effect as well. Next, we always enable company reply stop. If someone in a company has replied to us already, we don't want to be contacting everyone else. They also have a feature to include an unsubscribe link in the header, which is a requirement from Google if you're sending bulk emails, okay? Now, we do not send bulk emails, and what I mean by that is we have multiple accounts and in very, very, very low volume, and we completely diversify our infrastructure, so there is no way anyone can know that all of our accounts are our accounts. They all seem disconnected from each other, which make them seem like they send very low amounts of emails per day, which is why we don't add this feature right here. Now, if you want to be compliant with Google's policies, if you want to be compliant with other rules from, let's say, the Can't Spam Act or from the GDPR laws, you want to have this on, okay? So up to you, up to the way that you set up your infrastructure. The way we have our infrastructure set up is to go around this feature. Up to you, however you want to handle this from there. Next, we tend to enable risky emails because we validate our own lists. But if you are sending from Instantly and you got your lead list from Lead Finder, make sure this is disabled. And another thing, you can disable the bounce protect if you're getting lists from, again, validated from other sources. But if you're using Instantly, keep this as the default. And that is it. From here, we usually save and launch. We don't add anything to the CC or BCC. Not a feature that we like to play with because it can hurt deliverability depending on how you apply it. So from here, all we will do is click launch and our campaign is live. We'll start sending to new prospects on the schedule that we set in here. Now, once we've done that, what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the warm-up settings. So we're going to click on email accounts. We're going to select all of the email accounts that we added to this campaign. So let's say in this case, it was these two. We're going to apply a book editing setting, which is fantastic. Thanks Instantly for creating this feature. Saves us so much time. And then we're going to define our sending volume, which usually we do. I'll just give you an example, basic example that can't hurt too much. 20 emails in the campaign. Minimum waiting time needs to match the minimum waiting time of the campaign. So 10 minutes needs to be the same number. Don't mix and match these numbers. It's going to throttle your sending. Same number of the campaign is going to be in the email account. So 10 minutes. Then we're going to put the daily warm-up limit to, let's say, 30 emails. Remember, we send 50 emails per day total. So 50 minus the 30 is going to be the 20 emails of the sending Or if you want to do 50 minus the 20 in the campaign, that's the 30 warm-up emails you're going to be sending. Now, key, we never, ever, ever turn off the warm-up. Reason for that, remember beginning of the video, the warm-up is a tool to enhance your engagement in the account and make sure your account even looks legit in the first place. This is ground zero. Never turn off your warm-up. So we're going to put this to 30. Increase per day. Now that the account is already warm, we're not going to play with this feature. We're going to disable the slow warm-up. We want to never spike our sending, go up and down on it. So we're going to keep this to 30 emails per day, and we want 30 emails per day to start sending today, now that we launched the campaign. And then the reply rate, we're going to put a higher number. I'll put 65 here, which is just to compensate for the lack of replies in the campaign. We're going to have more replies in the warm-up. If you're curious about how this works and how this is important, once again, please, and I kept on saying this in this video, post it in the comments. We can record a video just about the warm-up and showing you the tips and tricks on how to make that perform. Cool. We got this out of the way. We're going to keep everything as it is. We're going to make sure, okay, this is enabled. This is all 100%. Now we're running campaigns. This can be 100%. And we're going to click save. Our campaign is ready to start sending. All right. So now that our campaigns are sending, we're going to talk about how do we manage replies. So the replies can happen from inside the Unibox. Okay, so we would click on this option. What Instantly does is it takes all of the replies from all of the email accounts that you have connected to it and bring them all to one place. Now, bear in mind that they're bringing replies from emails that have replied to your email. Now, it can happen that someone is going to reply outside of the thread, outside of the email that you sent them, and Instantly may lose that response. So it's still a very good practice that you open email accounts manually every once in a while to check if you lost any replies. But apart from that, you can use Instantly to handle everything else. And it also acts as a CRM, which is a fantastic feature of Instantly. Great. So now you got a reply. Let's say you got this reply right here. We're going to open it. You can read the reply. You can reply back from here, or you can forward. Okay. So let's say reply back. You would click on this button right at the very bottom. You could click on reply all, is the option that I always recommend that you do. Then you can look for templates from Instantly or macros if you want to use templates that you created before to help you reply to this prospect. Else, just type in your email in there, and then you can send it. But there is one feature on Instantly that is fantastic, and this is something that Close actually started, a different tool, but it's so helpful, which is the reminder to follow up with this person if they don't reply. So you can tick this box here. If no reply in 1 week, then remind me to follow up, and then you can send. So now you're having the CRM help you remember to follow up with this person later on. I recommend using this feature. Recommend it actually very much. So yeah, just make sure you have it on, and then you click on send and you're able to reply. Now from here, one other thing that's extremely key that you always apply is the categorization of your lead. So you need to click here on where you have the categorization and select what type of lead is this, right? Make sure you select the lead type of this response. So this is someone that's not interested. Is this someone that has booked a meeting? Is this someone that is interested? This is going to help you very much later on when you want to filter all of your replies to follow up with people and engage more and more leads, right? So this is how you're going to get more replies in the future. Cool. Another feature that you have on Instantly is you can click on move and add this lead to a subsequence or to another campaign. Really fine, it's helpful. You can take notes, CRM feature, and you can apply the settings right here, such as set a reminder to follow up with them, find similar leads to apply the lookalike feature we talked about in the very beginning of the video, mark it as unread, added this lead if you want to change any information about them, right? The information that's in here. You're absolutely able to do it that way. Cool. From here, you can manage all your leads in your CRM. You can just follow your sales process from there, which if you're curious about a sales process, guess what? Comments. Cool. Guys, that is it. That is everything that we should know about Instantly. Optimization of campaigns happens inside the campaign settings. So if you were to go back to your campaign, you can go back to sequences, you can enable and disable different email variations based on how they're performing. You can add more variants at any time, and thus forth. But this is the summary of how to use Instantly. It's already a very long video, but this is literally just a summary. There is so much more to this game. There is so much more to cold email, which again, if you're curious, let us know. We can always record more videos on this. We can always show you more on how we are running all of this infrastructure for all of our clients. Now, let's stop talking about Instantly, and let's start talking a little bit more about the tech that you need to set up an infrastructure on Instantly. So let me open here a document. Actually open a notepad, and I just want to tell you a little bit about the tech, and then we can come back to campaigns, okay? So in terms of tech, what you're going to need when you're setting up a cold email infrastructure is domains, emails, lead gen tool. In this case, lead gen tool will be optional, okay? So lead gen tools. And that's actually going to be it. Those are the most important things. Now, there is things that you're going to need before you're able to create a domain. For example, IP diversification tools, phone number diversification tools, and so forth. But that is getting really advanced on Coldemo and Coldemo deliverability, which again could be a topic for another video. But on domains, what do we recommend that we do here is using platforms such as Google Domains, which nowadays is Squarespace. So Squarespace. We recommend using GoDaddy, Cloudflare, Orkman, and it can keep on going on. We have multiple providers we use. We are always diversified. We never rely on a single provider because every once in a while a provider has an issue, and it's not good for you to be reliant on a platform only because you can get wiped out very easily. And it happens in Coldemo very often. And by very often, I mean every year. We've just been in the game for a minute now. But anyways, okay, and then for emails, where would you connect it? We recommend Microsoft 365 and G Suite. Now, you guys may ask about having, let's say, SMTP server, that like dynamic IPs and like all of that stuff. That would be, again, advanced, and we would have to come back to it in another video. There is a way to make it work. It's not as easy as people make it seem, like just go in, sign up to a service that gives you a specific IP and you're good to go. No, it does not work like that. It requires having infrastructure, requires warming up in a different way. There's a lot more to this game than just creating a dynamic IP and adding it to Instantly and start sending. But okay, anyways, this is the basics. Domains, emails, this is where we get them from. Lead gen tools, we like Apollo, just to give you an example. And then Million Verifier for the validation of the lead list. I talked about in the beginning of this video about scraping directories. We would scrape the directories and run them through Apollo, for example, too, and then Million Verifier. But you can also use directly the features on Instantly that are fantastic, and they do work. So that is it. Guys, there is more to this. If you're curious about it, once again, let us know. Happy to talk about it. But for this video, I think we are well on our way to be launching successful Coldemo campaigns. Let me know if any questions. Happy to help, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Man, that was value-packed right there, so thank you, Felipe, for making this video. Now, if you have any questions, go ahead and leave them in the comments. And if you do want to work with me and Felipe to make sure you never have deliverability problems or you never get stuck with Instantly, there is a link in the description to work together. So feel free to click that link, learn more, and book a call. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.